It's not a good place to be. What I will say is private sector, when I was in it, lot said about private sector. You know, I got ridiculed when I went to Strangeways about being at Forest Bank. Private sector, very few staff. I was on a wing. There'd be 2 staff on a wing with 86 prisoners. A lot of new staff, big turnover of staff, low wages. Now, no different. Private public sector, they've dragged it down. A prison officer's gone from 29 grand to 22 grand now. Yeah. You look at 4 grand of that, worst shifts you will ever work in your life. So that 22 grand also, you know, that covers your working Christmas Day, never seen a bank holiday, never seen your family, anti-social hours, everything. They've dragged in this country public sector down to private sector.
What do you think about the introduction of the American justice and incarceration model here, the privatization, you know, and profit, there being like this profit motive to lock people up? Because in America, 1 in 100 adults in prison right now. They started to mass incarcerate people for weed possession because they were the easiest people to arrest.
Well, I did read something about American prisons whereby, you know, 50% people in there are sort of for selling weed and possession of a small amount of weed. And if they let them all go, there'd be no need for DEA and all these things.
Yeah.
And it is very political. I think it is very political in this country. It was never about politics, I don't think. It's about budgets and wages,
yeah,
and making profit, but nobody should be making a profit out of locking people up. When I first went to Forest Bank, they used to get paid for every bed. So if it held 1,100 and they had 900, they get paid for 1,100. That is a fact. That has changed over time.
Yeah.
Some things in the private sector were really good. They could learn the workshops at Forest Bank. That's where people go to work. Kitchens, fantastic. Bear in mind, it was a new prison. So when it was built, it was purposeful. The workshops, they had welding workshops where you could learn to weld. Auto electrician, you know, where you could learn to wind alternators and, you know, sort cars out, this sort of thing. They had double glazing units being made. They had furniture being made. And prisoners would get a decent financial reward. Not massive, people would think. And some people would say, you know, well, why are you paying people in prison anyway to go to work? Now it's sort of backfired with public sector. If you look at Strangeways, the 2 best workshops there, because let's look at prisons, right? You know, people talk about rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is what I had in 2012 on my shoulder with a physio. There's no rehabilitation in prison at all. We're not changing anyone. We're making better prisoners, making them more violent and everything else. So, like I said, let's go to Strangeways, the 2 best workshops. There was a plastering workshop and a bricky workshop. And when they come out of there, they could lay bricks and they could plaster and they could earn 400-500 quid a week. Those 2 shops went by the way for office space and interviewing space. You know, Strangeways had a sewing shop, yeah, where they used to make prison tracksuits. Now, some people who had no money would gladly go to work and make prison tracksuits. Normal prisoners, you know, you get a bit of money sent in for your commissary or your canteen. You're not going to get out of bed for £2.50 a week and go and make tracksuits. You know, there's no incentive for anything. There's no purposeful activity at all.
So what's the hourly rate in UK prisons for jobs? Where I was at, it was 10 cents to 50 cents an hour, depending upon the job.
There was no specific hourly rate. The best paid job was the kitchens. Yeah. The prisoners got to eat in the kitchens. The kitchens were immaculate. 5-star hygiene rating. Well run. Decent quality food, as much as possible made from scratch. They were possibly, again, I might be wrong, maybe 15, 20 quid. The normal workshops was approximately, so if they're in sewing or plastering or bricky shop, maybe £5.50 a week. That would be for 9 sessions. Morning and afternoon, Monday to Thursday, and a Friday morning. Because prisons have targets to meet, at Strangeways, you know, last couple of years I were there, they were actually sending people part-time to work. So you'd have somebody go in the morning and somebody else in the afternoon. So you would go to work 4 days for £2. You're not going to get out of bed, are you?
No.
And the other thing is, there was a maximum on education and workshops of 400 people. You got 1,200 prisoners. You know, it's not happening.